Yeah, welcome to Al-Ajal TV. We are starting this new series for especially for young generation, and we will be talking about Islamic values for our young generation, especially in the Western countries like USA. And so it'll be a very interesting program. I'm your host. My name is Masoom Ali. I'm obviously professor, as you might have seen that. We will be discussing in our program about some very interesting topics that our new generation is interested in. Since I've been teaching Saturday school and in college also, I've been in contact with new generation youngsters, and I encourage them to ask questions about Islam. I've been going to various multi religious conferences from the college as well as schools. They invited me, church, they invited me, synagogue. I've gone to synagogue also. So I have a kind of interesting experience with talking to young generation, and that's why I'm very enthusiastic to talk to our community, young generation, and tell them what's going on in this world and how we can really improve the image of Islam, since we are, mashallah, say, ambassador of Islam here in these countries. So we would like to talk about a lot of interesting things, students or people of other faith also ask questions about Islam. They wanted to know about Islam, and I have tried to explain to them and try to improve the image of Islam, giving them true values of Islam. So that will be a good topic for our young generation to understand. And I'm sure when they go to school or when they go to any conferences, I'm sure being Muslim, they have been asked questions about Islam. And this program will, inshallah, help them to get more knowledge, how to talk to them, how to propagate real image of Islam to them. So that will be a very interesting thing. And I will include mostly the questions that young generation is asking nowadays, so that we can make this program more valuable for young generation. In this program, uh, I would also include your questions and suggestions as well. So if you have question, you can send it to Al-Ajal TV, and we'll inshallah include your questions, your suggestions as well in this program. Some of the broad aspect of what I have seen and what I have experienced in my 42 years in United States is, some of the questions I will just brief here in the first episode of this program. We will be talking about some of the question, like most important question that I have heard from our youth group is why in Islam we have so many sects, so many differences in faith, and we have several problems in understanding the rules and regulation of Islam. Why is it, when we have one Allah, we have one book, Quran, we believe in all these, very, very similar things, but still there are some misconcept or misunderstanding. So why is that? And that was a very, very good question that youngsters, they asked me, and inshallah we will discuss that in our program. The second very important question that they ask is an irrational fear towards Islam and Muslims, like we all have heard the term Islamophobia. We know that it is often rooted from misinformation, misinterpretation, or lack of understanding of Islamic values or Islam as a religion. So, especially in Western countries where we live, United States of America or Canada or any Western countries, this is a big problem of present problem, I would say. And they asked me that how can we educate general public here and present the real picture of Islam. And as I said, I have been also involved in that. So that will be another interesting topic for me to discuss and educate or encourage young generation to go out and talk to them and how to represent Islam. And I'm sure that we all understand that we are here. Allah has sent us to become ambassador of Islam. We all are. Every single person of our family is Muslim family is ambassador of Islam, and we have blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we will talk about that. Another thing that is very interesting to me is they also need to learn, our young generation especially, they also need to learn about the sacrifices their parents made when they migrated to this country. I migrated also to this country, and I have been here for 42 years, as I said. And during these 42 years, I have seen big change. When your parents came, I'm sure there was no Imam Barga, there was no mosque at that time, and how we survived, how we struggled, and how we built. That now you can see that it's a beautiful. Every city has several Imam Bargas, and mashallah, say we can uh, uh, pray and we can perform our religious duties very easily. So that will be another topic I would like to discuss if our new generation is interested in that. I have, as I said, experience of 42 years living in the United States, and we struggled, really struggled when we came. Very few Muslims were here, and as I said, there was no Imam Barga, and we had to perform our religious duties on, especially Muharram. How we did that? That's a very interesting experience that I can explain to our new generation. And once they know that, they will realize how important Islam is and how expensive this religion is, how many people they have sacrificed a lot of things. So we will talk about that, inshallah. We will also talk about Quran and Ahl Bayt and their mujizat. Young generation should realize and understand and learn about Quran being a mujiza, and Ahl Bayt or the Prophet's life, it's also a mujiza, and so we can talk about that as well. There are a lot of interesting things that Quran has described, the stories of prophets, various different things in Quran. And that if we now use the new technology like computers and discover different things about Quran, we realize that it is a mujiza. It cannot be a fabricated book or sentences even. It is from Allah. Every single word in Quran is Allah's word, and that's what I emphasize to other faith people. When I go to church or synagogue, I emphasize that Bible we also believe that Bible is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Torah is also from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they have made changes in those two books. Torah, people, they have changed, their opinion. They have represented their understanding, and so there are a lot of changes made in Torah as well as Bible. But Quran, when they hear that Quran was revealed about 1450 years ago, and is still it's in the same condition, every single word that is said by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is exactly same. There is no change in our Quran, and it is amazing to them. So we will talk about a lot of things about Quran and the Prophet as well, our Prophet. Then we will talk about stories of prophets, as I said, in Quran. Quran has mentioned several prophets, and their stories. They are, of course, they are prophets of Islam. We believe in them, and we believe that they were Masoom, they were infallible. So we will talk about them also. Their stories, that's very, very interesting. Another very interesting thing or question, someone asked me that why is such a genius our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? That's a very interesting question somebody asked me. And he said that why is such a genius prophet like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was said to be blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all universe. He was rahmatul lil alameen. Allah has said that Prophet is rahmatul lil alameen. That means he's blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the universe, not just for the human being, just for the earth, but for all the universe. And we don't know, where, what kind of planets we have and what's going on there. So he is, blessings on every one of them. And but he was sent to a very backward, illiterate place like Saudi Arabia. And why Allah did that? That's a very interesting thing, to think about. And I'm very amazed that young generation, they are thinking about that, and they want to learn, why Prophet was sent to such a difficult place, and where nobody could understood him, or there was illiteracy, there were barbaric kind of behavior they had. Why Prophet was sent to that place. So we will discuss that, inshallah, also in our program. And I will also show you how easy it is in Islam to make every moment of our life ibadah. It is very, very easy to make every moment of our life. You will never find that in any religion. By the way, I have been involved, religion was it's my favorite subject. So I have studied about almost all kinds of religion, especially since I'm from India. I have studied Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And so, I have studied that, and that's why it amazes me that there is no religion like Islam. It's a beautiful concept, and it is not just religion, but it gives you the whole Islam. It gives you the life, how you want to spend your life. It gives you the morale. It gives you the orders, sequence, way of life, how Allah wants us to spend our life. So these are the things that we will, inshallah, talk about that. So let's me for the first episode of this program. I would like to start with you know first thing that what is Islam? Let's start from the very beginning. When I go to conferences or interfaith conferences or conferences with colleges with our scholars and things like that. So uh, I usually they ask me, "What is Islam? What do you believe? How do you celebrate?" Things like that to understand about Islam. And I've been going to churches and synagogue, explaining about Islam. By the way, we all here in these Western countries, we are ambassador of Islam, and it is our duty. Allah has made us ambassador in these countries, and it is our duty to explain, to propagate the real Islam, real picture of Islam, because nowadays we see that Islam has been very treated very differently. And better than me, one young generation. So we'll talk about that. But let me start with what is Islam? What is Islam? Islam means peace. The literal meaning of Islam, if you look at the dictionary, the meaning of Islam is peace. And of course, it has been twisted in media and they have interpreted in different terms and tried to ruin the image of Islam. And we will talk about that also. But let's see, first thing we should start with that uh, Islam, if we want to understand Islam, how to understand Islam. That's the main thing. And for that, I would, um, take you to the real picture that we can get, where we can get the definition of Islam, where we can really find what Islam means. So if you look at the dictionary, Islam is a religion that is sent to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we make sure that we use the word Allah. We don't use God. And there is reason behind it. And I'll explain that why we use word Allah and not God. Although normally in these countries, Western countries, they will say God is Allah. Allah is God. No, there is a big difference there. There is a big difference. When we say God, you might have heard she God, he God, Godfather, Godmother. So God has different meaning. There may be, Godfather, there may be Godmother, there may be, he God, she God. There are a lot of, interpretation of the word God. But when we talk about Islam, Islam says that Allah is only one and He is the supermost power of the universe. He is the creator of the universe. And that's what we believe. There is no comparison to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why we use the word Allah and not the word God. Because when you use the word God, that means somebody can interpret as he God, she God, or Godfather or Godmother. You have heard several different terminology that Western countries they use, and so it creates confusion. So make sure that whenever you talk about Allah, use the word Allah. That's a unique word that has no plural, that has no you know, masculine gender or feminine gender. It's a God. That's a unique quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a unique quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you will not find equivalent word in any other language except Arabic, where Allah has declared him as Allah. And we use him for Allah because of our convenience. He's not a gender oriented. There is no gender. There is no question about gender. He is the creator, but we have to address him some way. So that's why we have decided that okay, we will use he, but that does not mean that he is really he. He's some kind of gender-wise. No, there is no gender at all. He's the creator. He's the creator of everything. So that's what should be made it clear for everybody. It is. Let me bring this. One thing that we need to understand in present time, that what is Islam? What is Islam? And we don't have to go too far to understand the religion or the word Islam. There is no need to go anywhere to learn about Islam or to talk about Islam. If we meaning of Islam, I mean the meaning of Islam. So if we ask Quran that what is Islam? What is Islam? And so Quran in Surah Ahzab, which is the Surah number 33, it's said in very clearly that لَقَدْ كَانَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. This is the ayat number 21 of Surah number 33, Surah Ahzab, Surah number 33. And it says very clearly, لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. That means those who are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and those who believe in the day of judgment, God or Allah, in fact, Allah is talking to them in Quran, and he says that the character, the behavior of my Rasul is the what we call namuna amal. That's the standard of Islam. That's what you have to follow, the activities or the teachings of our Prophet and his real behavior. That is a sample for you to follow, and that is Islam. All the activities that is described by Prophet and that is conducted by Prophet, that's practiced by Prophet, that is Islam. That is the religion Islam. Whatever our Prophet performed or did or taught, that is the seerat, that we call it seerat of Prophet, the character of the Prophet, the behavior of the Prophet. That is the ultimate result of Islamic values. That should be very, very clear, that when we want to talk about Islam, Islam is nothing but the behavior, the activities of our Prophet. That's what this means. This ayat in Surah number 33, Surah Ahzab. It's very clearly shown in Quran, and there is no dispute about what it means. There are a lot of ayat in Quran that people may have different meanings interpreted in a different way, those ayat. But this ayat That is the surah number 33, Surah Ahzab, ayat number 21. It is very, very clearly states that لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Those who have hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to learn Islam, what is the activities that related to Islam or Islamic values, the seerat of the Rasul, the character of the Rasul, the behavior of the Rasul is the sample of character or sample of Islam, I would say, and we need to follow that. So that should be very, very clear from Quran. There's no hadith or nobody is, I'm not quoting anybody's saying or anybody's hadith, but it is Quran, from Quran. So we, once we know that what is Islam, what Allah wants us to do, that is from the Quran. So Quran says that follow our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that his seerah is, if we are following that, that is Islam. So that should be very, very, basically that should be clear. Now, so if we decided that the seerat of Rasul, the character of the Rasul is Islam, then we should think about that only the seerat of Rasul, only the character of Rasul is Islam and nothing else. It should be very, very clearly understood that the only seerat of our Prophet is Islam and nothing else, no more, no less. Okay, so that should be very, very clearly understood. And that's the order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran, as I explained, the ayat number 21 of ayat of Surah 33. Now, so if we know that the seerat of Rasul, the character of the Rasul is Islam, then this is the standard for all the Muslims to follow if they want to follow Islam. So this is the standard for us to follow if we want to accept Islam or if we want to practice Islam. So whoever believes in Islam, believe in Shariat of Islam, they should follow the seerat, the character, the behavior of our Rasuls. And they will be called Muslim. That's what boils down to. In big picture, I hope I made it clear to everybody what is Islam. So now, a very interesting thing that comes here is when Allah is saying that the character of my Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Islam, is the deen of Islam, deen ilahi, the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is a complete, the way of life that Allah wants every Muslim to perform, to follow the footsteps of our Prophet, and that will be the Islam, and we have to follow that Prophet's lifestyle, whatever Prophet's teachings are. That's what is Islam, and that's what Allah wants us to follow. So if this is clear, my words and my explanation of Islam, what is Islam, if this is clear, then it will be very easy to understand the seerah, the character, the behavior of our Rasul and the importance of that. So if anybody wants to follow Islam, there is no other way but you have to follow, you have to learn the character of Prophet, the behavior of the Prophet, how Prophet behaved in his life, and what he ordered us to do. And of course, there is Quran as well. And that explains what Allah wants from us and that was represented by the Prophet. That was the practical implication of the Quran. And